I've definitely been called an old soul, and yeah, I'll take that. People have a natural desire to put you in one category or another. Are you a designer? Are you a craftsperson? Are you a woodworker? Are you an artist? And so from a branding perspective, it's difficult to kind of like defy those conventions and have like a little bit of a hand in all those things. So I'm looking for probably a bunch of 6-quarter stuff.
Okay.
Or,
Jared Rustin designs and hand-builds custom wood furniture in his studio in Stockton. Today he's visiting Robert Beauchamp's lumber barn in Woodland, looking for some very special and rare wood.
So like that level of figure that was in that board that we looked at.
Yeah, that's getting up towards the higher end.
California walnut, this Claro walnut, is really colorful. It has just like a variety of tones and textures and often is very heavily figured. So it has all of this personality.
The wood needs to be absolutely top quality. It will eventually be used to build one of his most sought-after pieces of furniture, a table in the shape of California. Once he's satisfied he's got what he needs, he loads the lumber into the back of his 1966 Ford Ranchero and makes the long trek back to Stockton.
It was in 1954, and Alex happened to run across a 2-paragraph article in the Nevada State Journal that spoke of the town of Reno vying for the Olympics.
And Alex thought, Reno? Well, gee, what great mountains do they have there? We can do better than that.
One of the cornerstones of Alex's argument was the Olympics belong to the world. They shouldn't be on one continent all the time. It's our turn.
The mountain itself has always been a beacon for many people, many extraordinary people that also are true personalities.
Squaw Valley exists the way that it exists as much from conflict as it does from harmony.
You know, one thing that's kind of shameful is that so much of the history's been lost.
In many ways, I've always said Squaw Valley is more of a love story than a success story in any other way. It really is. It's a love story.
Release the brakes. We're going. Here we go. So Rob, what we're doing here is a standard formation join up, and we're going to make a left 270 here. I have my one wing man on my wing that I took off with me, and if you look back behind you, you'll see the other flight of 2 airplanes. Oh my gosh, there they are! Okay, that is one of the wildest things I've ever seen. This is how all your naval aviators trained during World War II, and still to this day. Look at that! I can't believe how close everybody is. That is so much skill, Chuck.
California's first pioneers were very aware that they were part of history. They were breaking out into a part of the country that was very unexplored. They were seeking their fortune, but they were establishing a new community and they were building a new state. So unquestionably, they understood that this was a momentous occasion. And I think they realized that it was something that might not happen again. And so they were making every effort to document it.
In truth, the Sacramento Pioneer Association might never have come to be, were it not for one early pioneer. The morning of January 24th, 1848, began pretty much like any other for 37-year-old James Marshall. Marshall had been tasked with building a sawmill near Coloma, California, by his employer, Captain John Sutter. He'd spent the last few days deepening a man-made channel called the tail race, so more water could come through to power the saw. After finishing his breakfast, he headed out on this cold, clear morning to inspect the progress.
James Marshall was a unique individual. Some people would have described him as odd. He was a bit of a loner.
But apparently he was a hard worker. He was an excellent man for the job that John Sutter hired him for. Every morning he tended to walk through the tail race to inspect the work that had been done the previous day. And he noticed something shiny in the water of the tail race.
He reached down and picked it up, and he thought, and rightly so, that it could be gold.
What he really found that day, in terms of its physical size and shape, was quite small, but its impact on the state and to world history cannot be overstated. It was absolutely tremendous.
Within only a few months, Marshall's discovery set off a worldwide frenzy that ultimately led to the largest human migration in history.
Back in the late 50s and early 60s, they made some music out there on the West Coast that's arguably about the best that's ever been made.
But no matter where I travel,
just kind of come up out of the dirt, you know, and found its way to a Telecaster.
well, a poor boy's chance is for a pretty girl's glances, and sometimes
I like that edge, boy. When I played the note, I wanted him to bleed, you know.
honey, here's what I'll offer you.
We tried to pay tribute to Buck and Merle with some of their songs, and we'd like to do some of those for you tonight. First one's a Buck Owens song called Foolin' Round. I know that you've been fooling around on me right from the start. So I'll take
It was a decade of dust, despair, and misery for the people of the Southern Plains. The Dust Bowl of the 1930s drove hundreds of thousands of farmers from their land. 200,000 packed up what little they had and headed to California.
The West Coast had always, been a magnet. Of course, the great 19th century admonition of "Go west, young man, go west."